Hey guys, I want to welcome you to the weekly Wednesday for the Financial Freedom newsletter, where every week, every Wednesday, we delve into something inspirational, motivational, something excerpt taken from the Financial Freedom weekly newsletter. Wherever you are, if you're listening on Spotify, on iTunes, Google, be sure to click the like, subscribe, share, comment. And without ado, let's get into the show. Hey guys, welcome to this week's podcast episode for the Financial Freedom Podcast. I'm really excited about today's guests, Ali Abassi. He's the founder of AI for Work and Work Smarter, which we all need to do these days. And he's going to talk to us all about artificial intelligence, not only ChatGPT, but this burgeoning field of prompt engineering, which is really interesting because if you can get the prompts correctly, you can hack your business growth, be more productive. So I'm really happy to have him on the show. Ali, welcome.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dr. Christopher Liu. I appreciate you having me on the show and having an opportunity to speak to you and your audience about prompt engineering, AI, and how they can grow their businesses.
Yeah, all my friends call me Chris, so I don't really subscribe to the doctor titles. Tell people about your story, your background, and how you got started.
Yeah, absolutely. So my background has always been in sales and marketing. I was working at IBM in their Watson division, selling customer engagement solutions to some of the largest companies here in Canada. And just over a period of time, when ChatGPT came out, I became obsessed with this generative AI thing. And what was one of my biggest frustrations was using the tool and getting just really subpar results from it. I knew that there was promise here, right? Like we had an oracle of a machine that you can ask any question and you would get great answers. But when it came to actually creating content, I found that it was lacking, right? And everybody who was reading one's content, it was so clear that it was written by ChatGPT. So I started diving into prompt engineering, and I found ways around that and how to just get professional level quality content out of it for every field, including the medical field, including psychologists, lawyers, and in my space, marketers. So yeah, that's the business that I ended up starting was a resource hub for individuals to be able to leverage ChatGPT and actually get really good results out of it. And it's been great. Like we've launched about 45 days ago. We have about 13,000 members who have joined, and it's just growing organically with no marketing, a lot of word of mouth. And I've been able to meet so many interesting people through this process.
Yeah, I love that. So kind of tell people prompt engineering, because a lot of people don't understand what it is, and a lot of people have heard of ChatGPT, but they're not really, they're not. So kind of expand upon what prompt engineering is.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so prompt engineering is the process of asking a computer to provide you with what you want. However, there are differences in what you get based on how you ask. So I'm a father. I have a 15-month-old son, and I find that prompt engineering is very similar to parenting. I could ask him to, right? I could ask him to eat his food very directly, and he reacts a certain way. Or I can say, eat your food with a spoon like this, and he does it in a very different way. So I think prompt engineering is the instructions you provide a machine to give you the results that you're looking for.
Yeah.
At this given moment, the field of prompt engineering is growing quickly and it's quite exciting. However, these new systems that we have, so ChatGPT has made it really easy for individuals to be able to get what they want without having to be too advanced. However, there are many tricks that I'd be happy to share for users to get the best results that they can.
Yeah. So tell. You mentioned some tips and tricks. What are those tips and tricks?
Yeah. So One thing that really changes the way that I use ChatGPT, when I realized that I wasn't getting the results that I wanted, I had to think philosophically about it. Like, why is it that I'm asking for something and I'm getting such subpar results? And what I realized was that if I had a physical assistant, if I had an assistant that was actually helping me write marketing copy or content, I would never really accept the first draft. But when it comes to ChatGPT, we're out here accepting everything that it shoots at us without asking for revisions over and over again. So what I developed was a framework that asks ChatGPT to evaluate its own work, usually from different points of view, and then to revise its own work. And after you do that multiple times, you end up with an incredible result. What ended up changing was the fact that I asked it to evaluate its work, to revise it, and provide me a better version. And just through that process, I was able to figure out how to get professional quality content out of it.
Really fascinating. The other question is, so this question, I love these ideas of growth hacks, especially, with social media, with Google search. So kind of talk about growth hacks using AI.
Yeah, great question. Okay, so there's so many different ones, and I think it would be necessary to have a better understanding of the situation to really provide it. But using AI it's the greatest leverage opportunity that businesses have at this moment. So a simple growth hack, it depends on how you want it, right? Like if your idea is to grow from a marketing standpoint and get as much reach, there's ways to do that. Just through scraping information online using ChatGPT with a plugin. Or if your next stage is I want to grow my profitability, there's ways to reduce the amount of team members that you have. But I think if we want to just have like a pure growth hack, I think the simplest thing is that every employee on your team can have an expert advisor with them at this point, so you could just make less mistakes. That would be the clearest use case for a growth hack with business today. Each employee, whether they're a VA or a professional, can now operate as an expert in their field with the help of ChatGPT.
Yeah, it's amazing because I use ChatGPT and like, for example, last year, I spent, tens of thousands on editors and, all these social media manager. And now with ChatGPT, like $20 a month, I did, and it's actually 6x my output. So,
Wow.
content, and it's just amazing. Everything is going to basically the cost of high computing powers going to zero. So it's very efficient and, it's scalable and you can do a lot more with a lot less. So
yeah, absolutely. I think like you said, I think it's the cost of information, of getting information, has gone down so rapidly. And I think what's in the pipeline right now, what's coming in the future, is going to shock a lot of people because one, we're going to start seeing a lot of like fundamental changes in society of how we work, the types of work that we do. What most people don't see right now under the hood is that a lot of startups right now are working on these things called AI agents. Are you familiar with the concept?
I've heard of it. I'm not sure if it's the same thing as bots, but I'm always interested.
No, you're spot on. You're spot on. So think about it as a bot, but as a digital employee. So rather than so the software that the startups are building right now, and there's quite a few different organizations at the very early stages of getting this done right now, they're creating digital employees. And what they're doing is they're creating multiple different ChatGPT instances working against each other to make the best decision. So they basically create a brain. They connect it to all of your data. So imagine you have an HR manager that's a digital employee, and you say, hey, I need you to onboard this new employee. It makes a decision of what the best process would be to do it. And then it's connected to all of your applications. And then it starts doing, here's your new Slack account, here's your new email. We're going to send you an onboarding form. You're going to have to fill out these forms. And it takes care of all these different tasks. It accepts those tasks. And it does this all autonomously by just thinking through the process on its own. And over a period of time, it gets better and better and better to a point where you might not need a full-time HR manager. And this is happening in every single role, in every single industry. And I think the impact is going to be it's going to be a big impact on how we work and the types of work that we as humans do.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because you're going to go from managing people to managing AI bots. And it's what's interesting is I've been playing around with these avatars in the metaverse, and these avatars
Nice.
can actually you can actually stake them in these protocols, and they can actually basically the avatars will generate a yield like 5%, 10%, whatever, and it's almost like having an employee, but digital employee in the metaverse, and it's like making money for you. So it's
Totally.
funny.
Yeah, no, you're spot on. I think it's exactly like that. I think one of the interesting areas from a business perspective is in the sales sector. I think in the future, instead of hiring an individual sales rep, you'll deploy 1,000 AI agents that will do your cold calling, your emailing, and booking your appointments. So yeah.
Yeah, it's fascinating, and I'm always interested in how do you remove yourself from the equation and just kind of like you basically free up your time. One thing is this talking about we talked about growth hacks, peak productivity, and then we talked these chatbots, employees leveraging AI, but how can AI be used in marketing? That's quite interesting as well.
Yeah, great question. Well, one, you have an expert marketer next to you at all times. That's number one. Number two, the ability to ask it for content in a meaningful way is by asking it to produce content for you, by letting it know your customer persona and your goals. You end up with a really good result. But you could also ask it to start to provide you context in the style of. So like there's some really great books like Breakthrough Advertising. You can say, using the fundamentals of breakthrough advertising, create me an ad campaign. Now, it won't be perfect on the first run, but you'll end up with a first draft that's significantly better than somebody who is doing it with very little experience. So I think that anybody who isn't a professional copywriter, isn't a professional marketer, now has the ability to create really fantastic campaigns with way less effort. So from a marketing standpoint, ChatGPT can be used for all sorts of different things when it comes to creating content, but then also from the sense of figuring out how to improve your business from a marketing standpoint. You could take all of your reviews that you have for your business, for example, all of your My Google business reviews, and put them into ChatGPT and simply ask, what are the things that my customers want that they don't currently get? What are the things I should improve, and please prioritize them from most important to least important. And you'll end up with a playbook of exactly how you should fix your business to get better customer experiences.
The other question I have is there's these two camps. One is saying that AI is going to basically force everybody to move from jobs to creating jobs. And then there's this camp where it's saying that, AI is not going to replace your job, but it's actually going to create more jobs, and people that learn how to use AI are going to be the ones that have that skill. So what are your thoughts on this idea of job disruption?
Yeah, I think it's really hard to predict the next 5 years. But from what I've seen, the folks that say that AI isn't going to take your job, I think every week that changes. And the reason I say that is, for example, the CEO of GitHub said that AI will not replace software engineers. Sure, it definitely won't replace all software engineers, but the number of software engineers required to finish a project will go down. But I think when I think about it from a philosophical standpoint, AI will 100% take our jobs. No question about it. And the scary thing is it's not what we expected. We expected that AI would initially come and take the low-level mundane tasks out of the way. But it's actually doing the opposite. It's going for the high skill set tasks. And it's helped. Well, I don't think it's going to take a doctor's job at any point, but I think it's going to support the doctor's job to be able to take on more patients, to provide better quality work. But for the majority of folks, I do believe that AI, with the help of AI agents, will be able to replace a significant portion of our workforce sooner than later.
It's so fascinating because it's come almost like the Amazon effect, because Amazon basically slowly moves into adjacent industries, and that definitely will cause a lot of disruption. Whether it takes your job or not is going to change the way we work and the way we communicate and that sort of thing. So and it's almost like the internet, the early days, if you didn't have a website, e-commerce, if you didn't have a website, you're disadvantaged. And now it's like, if you don't know how to use social media or, these technologies, AI, you're going to be at a disadvantage. So, and then ultimately it's the creative ones that learn how to use the technology creatively. So, Uber, Lyft, DoorDash, Airbnb, these kind of apps that kind of leverage the technology for new things, new use case, so it's really interesting.
So I think the point of view when the folks say that there's going to be more jobs in the future with AI, what they're thinking about is historically through the Industrial Revolution, everybody thought that, okay, we're going to automate so many of these processes that we're going to not need to work as much, which didn't end up happening. What ended up happening was the cost of goods started to go down. We were able to buy more, and as a result, there was more work. But what is different about this opportunity versus all prior ones is the amplification. Like I said, you're not deploying one AI agent. You're going to deploy 1,000 AI agents, and it's just compute power. And like when I can't fathom how over a 10-year span of time, how industry by industry, it's going to start taking large chunks of labor out. And I don't think that we're currently prepared as a society to retrain individuals. For example, if trucking, which is a huge employer as a sector, is taken out or reduced significantly through AI or self-driving vehicles, we don't have the mechanisms today to retrain 200,000 people into a new field because the demand for work is just not there at the moment. And if that happens in customer service, in low-level sales, we're going to see some real big problems in society that we're going to have to figure out as humans. We're going to need to solve this.
It's that brings in the question, this idea of universal basic income, and and then also brings into this question, just like Elon Musk, he was quoted as saying, AI is one of the biggest threats to civilization. Climate change, we're not prepared for climate change. We're definitely not prepared for AI. So all these things is going to just hit us by a storm. And if you're prepared, you can actually adjust and adapt. But if you're just kind of stuck to the old ways, you're gonna really struggle. It's just like basically when the industrial age came and you had farmers and they didn't learn to use like tractors, and they're still farming the land. They were SO.
Absolutely. But I think we totally got off topic. If we go back to the topic of how an individual can leverage AI today, I think step one is really just start using ChatGPT and start thinking AI first. Before you complete a task, think about how AI can help you at the very beginning of that task, and give it an attempt. The tool AI for Work that I created is completely free for anybody to use. And they simply just pick what their career is, what their job is, and they'll be able to find multiple different use cases. And it's as easy as copy and paste that anybody with any skill level will be able to do it and be able to get fantastic results out of it.
So really fascinating. Again, like I said, I'm always interested in these, and I know that actually I predict, if people actually become very skilled at prompt engineering, you can actually become a prompt engineering consultant. I'm sure it's a 6-figure salary type of occupation. So how can people contact you, follow you, check out your work, reach out to you, etc.?
I think that to start, I think they should just go to AI for Work. And I say that in a way that it's self-serving for them, that they'll find ways to leverage AI using this service. Like I said, it's completely free. It's super easy to use. And my links are all in there, from the contact page to my LinkedIn and so on. And I'm happy to chat with anybody regarding AI or prompt engineering and skill sets that they can to gain. But aiforwork.co. I think most users will find that useful. At the moment, the feedback that I'm getting is users are saying that it's saving them more than an hour a day and helping them finish their work much faster.
Yeah, awesome. And for all the audience out there, let's thank Ali for coming onto the show. Really fascinating, engaging discussion about AI, ChatGPT, future of marketing work, prompt engineering. He's on LinkedIn, so check him out there. And with that, thanks so much for coming onto the podcast.
Thanks so much, Chris. Take care.
I hope enjoyed that wonderful, inspirational, motivational piece. Again, wherever you are listening, if you liked it, be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe. We're on everywhere: Spotify, iTunes, Google, Amazon, Audible. And without much ado, be sure to thank this show's sponsors, and we'll see you next week.